Alright guys, it's been forever since I made a video, but I've had a few requests to make one over this strategy I've been using in war, and basically it's the Town Hall 11 3-star 3-hound Lalo that y'all have probably seen a few times. First, when looking at a base and scouting a base for this attack, you're going to want to hit these offset air defense bases most of the time. And another qualification the base must have is a Hound clan castle. If it doesn't have that, I usually don't consider it for this strategy. But since this base in particular does, I decided to hit it with this strategy. And what I started off with was the king and queen on those two upper air defense that are exposed. What I try to aim for is taking out at least one or two air defenses with just the king and queen and maybe a few wall breakers. In this case, I didn't need the wall breakers. But after I was able to take those out, I look for the queen defense, or the queen location, and that determines the side I want to hit from. As you can see, the queen is more offset to the left side of this base, so that's the side I decided I'd go for. The reason is, when I drop the hound at about 5 o'clock, it's going to go through her radius of aggravation and path up to that left air defense that is left. As the hound passes up through there, and it'll lure the queen over that inferno, and that's where I aim to capture the queen, the inferno, the wizard tower, and whatever else is around there with the freeze. And as I do that, I can drop a rage and 2 skeleton spells there, and it is almost guaranteed queen kill. So that is probably the easiest way I've found to kill the queen in this strategy, and that's essential to this strategy's success. As far as hound pathing, like I said, you're going to want to drop a hound or two that path through the queen's aggravations radius, and behind that you're going to want to follow up with some loon deployment really quickly. I found that the loon deployment has to be really fast with this strategy, or it's not going to be very successful. So what I did was dropped a few loons on that middle archer tower just to take that out, because I figured it was a bit of an outlier as far as pathing, so it'd be better to take that out initially. From there, I just kind of quickly 2 or 3 finger dropped a couple packs of loons along those outer defenses there, that wizard tower and archer tower cannon along the bottom. The strategy seems a bit spammy, and to an extent I think it has to be for this strategy to succeed, because of how fast you have to get loons down for it to be successful. So when you're practicing this, just practice dropping hounds and then loons very quickly behind them. Along with that, if this strategy wasn't fast enough already, you got to get your haste and rage down over that freeze spell that you're trying to catch the queen in with, and then drop your skeleton spells on there. So there's a lot going on. It just takes a lot of practice, but it can be very effective. So that describes the hound pathing. As far as spells, I usually try to do a haste spell on the bottom side, a rage through that middle inferno to rage the skeleton spells, and the loons going over that inferno actually to kill the queen. And on the top side, on the air defense side, you're going to want to drop another haste. Those are the first 3 speed up spells on that side. As far as packs of loons and the numbers of loons I drop, it's per defense on the outside. It's probably about 4 to 5 each and I drop most of my 34 loons along this side initially. I try to save at least 4 to 6 for the backside for just any remaining defenses, because you just kind of have to watch where what parts of the base need extra help and more loons, and you use these 4 to 6 loons to reinforce those areas. So after that initial area, after you've used those 2 haste, rage, freeze, the skeleton spells, and the queen is killed, your loons are going to start pathing through the base. On the upper side, they're going to go over that eagle, and on the bottom side they're going to go through some wizard towers usually, and some other stuff, some other just air defenses and random defense buildings. For my other 3 hastes actually, I'll usually drop another haste on the bottom, another haste on the top, and use that last haste to go through the last inferno. And then you'll follow up with a heal spell, most likely on those final wizard towers, but just use it wherever necessary. If your loons are dying up top faster and they desperately need a heal, you just kind of have to be watching and drop it where necessary. For the warden placement, I usually place it along the bottom deployment of my loons. In this case, probably around 6 or 7, probably about 7 o'clock is where I drop my warden. And what I try to do is save that warden ability to the middle of the base or through that last inferno. I think that describes most of what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna play through this attack and narrate a little bit as it goes along. So I start off with the heroes to take out those 2 air defense, and I have a bit of a fail where I let the queen take damage and the king doesn't do much tanking at all. It turns out not to affect the raid too much, but the queen could have got much more buildings down if she had been tanked a little better. So watch that a little bit. And then I start with the Hound loon deployment. So as you can see, drop a few loons on that arch tower, and that Hound starts to path over that inferno through the queen's aggravation radius. And at this point, you see I've already dropped that haste, and I begin to drop that freeze right there, and it captures the queen, the inferno, the wizard tower, and I think it actually captures a CC wizard, which was kind of lucky. I didn't really plan for, but it worked out in my favor. After that, the rage and the skeleton spells go down quickly and kill that queen as soon as that freeze lets up a little bit. I dropped those 2 more hastes that I was talking about to speed up the loons through the base. As the loons get towards that last inferno, I do the warden ability and the final haste to rush them through that. At this point, all I have left is that heal, and there's plenty of loons up and not much to do much damage to them while they're under heal. So this base is pretty much wrecked at this point. This attack just happens so fast. You just gotta keep practicing with deployment of spells and loons, and it definitely helps if you have a tablet or anything with a bigger screen to get multiple finger drops on the strategy. I've tried to do the strategy on my phone, and it's not nearly as effective as on my tablet, so that's another tip you can use if you have a tablet. So that's about it for this strategy. Leave comments, or if you're in my clan, just let me know if you have any extra questions and I'll be happy to help. That's it.